What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including CM Punk's all-out rant planned, a shocking angle planned for Dominik Mysterio, Kenny Omega reach out to WWE flop on the next Brock Lesnar, a former superstar hospitalized, Bobby Fish has some harsh words for CM Punk, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out Wrestlelamia.co.uk and our non-wrestling channel, Incredible. Now let's hit the intro and get straight into our first story. Our first story looks at, was CM Punk's all-out rant planned? The top of today's news is the ongoing scandal surrounding CM Punk's fiery post all-out media scrum. While no one is stating that Punk's outburst or the alleged backstage brawl that transpired afterwards was a work, there's a belief among some pundits and fans that Punk had planned his tirade for some time. Meltzer reported in this week's Observer that one person noted that Punk 2 weeks ago when he returned said that the press conference after the pay-per-view would be interesting. Others have noted that Punk's tirade didn't seem to be prompted by any questions. Cultaholic's JJ Williams had an interesting take on things, saying Punk's tirade was not prompted by a question from anyone at the media scrum, and the 43-year-old instead interrupted Nick Hausman of Wrestling Inc. at the start of the press conference and used Hausman's past working relationship with Colt Cabana to bring up Boom Boom and begin his rant. Punk even told Hausman during the scrum that he blew my spot, which suggested the two-time AEW World Champion's tirade was planned. There's been some speculation that Punk knew he was hurt after his match and that he wouldn't be wrestling anytime soon, thus he launched his diatribe on Hangman Adam Page, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. While this is speculation, Punk's entry could have made the difference between him staying subdued during the press conference or going into business himself. What do you guys think? Do you think this really was planned? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, the shocking angle planned for Dominik Mysterio. It looks like tonight's edition of Raw could feature a shocking angle between Dominik Mysterio and Edge. Dominik, who recently turned heel by attacking Edge and Rey Mysterio at Clash at the Castle, doubled down on his villainy by joining the Judgment Day. And now PW Insider is reporting, PW Insider notes Rey and Dominik Mysterio were both in Asheville, North Carolina this past weekend, leading to speculation they may have shot an angle or filmed something at Edge's house because that's where he lives. Dominik's heel turn has only begun, but the WWE is giving him a fantastic opportunity by booking him against WWE Hall of Famer Edge, who hasn't lost a step in the ring and has plenty to teach Dominik when they eventually wrestle. This feud with Edge could take Dominik out of his father's shadow, and it'll be intriguing to see how things play out. Next up, a Raw wrestler trapped in creative limbo. It looks like the WWE may have its first instance of a wrestler being trapped in the WWE's creative phantom zone following Triple H's assumption of creative. However, there's already news that the previously pushed Veer Mahan on the Red Brand's push is kaput. Fightful Select is reporting that there aren't any significant imminent creative plans for Veer as of right now. And many fans were surprised by Mahan's push after months of hype videos proclaiming his Raw debut led to fans wondering when he'd even show up. Mahan eventually showed up and was given some dominant wins as a monster heel, leading to talk he could become the next top star on Raw. But while the WWE Universe has come to expect wrestlers' pushes evaporating during the Vince McMahon era, there was probably hope amongst some fans that Triple H would do things differently. As we noted when Triple H began bringing back NXT superstars and others, there's only so much room in the WWE, and sooner or later, one or more wrestlers would find themselves sitting on the sidelines. Don't be surprised to see more wrestlers who are being pushed faded into the background or even get future endeavored. Next up, did Kenny Omega reach out to WWE? Well, Omega, who spent many months on the shelf to deal with a string of nagging injuries, reportedly contacted the WWE through unofficial channels. You may recall a previous report that the Young Bucks of Nick and Matt Jackson reached out to the WWE through a third party about working for the company when the AEW deal expires sometime in 2023. But now Ringside News is reporting that the Young Bucks are not alone in putting out feelers to WWE. Kenny Omega has feelers out to WWE since before he returned from injury. As the wrestling world awaits the results of AEW's investigation into the rumored ruckus between CM Punk, Ace Steel and the Elite, there's talk about whether AEW might release one or more of the Elite, leading them to join the WWE. As we noted, CM Punk may be released, but don't hold your breath waiting for the WWE to invite him back to the company. Next up, WWE's next big thing, Fizzles. As more news on Olympic wrestler Gable Steveson, the amateur wrestling wonder kid who the WWE signed as part of the Next in Line program, only to find he apparently wasn't everything they were hoping for. Meltzer discussed the WWE's hope that Gable could be this generation's next big thing, as it was that he was going to be the new Brock Lesnar, and that they were going to send coaches to Minnesota and get a place in Minneapolis, and during the wrestling season, they were going to have him also train as a pro wrestler, which probably wasn't a good idea to do both at the same time. Meltzer elaborated on the WWE's plans and what actually happened. He hasn't debuted, and they wanted him to debut at WrestleMania, and it didn't happen. He was supposed to be fast-tracked to main events by now, like come right out of college and win the NCAAs, which he did, then go right to WWE top level, and that didn't happen. And Meltzer opined, training as an amateur wrestler while also focusing on a career in the pro ranks can't be easy, especially since Stevenson has talked about possibly giving one more go in the amateur ranks. The two-time NCAA wrestling champion may have found himself burnt out, or even worse, made aware of the potential injuries involved with training in the squared circle. As fans discovered last year, even routine training can lead to serious injuries, as seen when Bayley destroyed her knee. While Stevenson's push has stalled, that shouldn't be seen as the end of his WWE career. You may recall that Olympic gold medalist Mark Henry's early run in the WWE was marred by twists and turns as he struggled to turn his weightlifting prowess into a strong run in the ring. Next up, an embarrassing situation at Clash at the Castle. Or did you guys watch Drew McIntyre and Tyson Fury sing at Clash at the Castle following McIntyre's loss to Roman Reigns? Well, it turns out the fans watching at home weren't supposed to see this, as former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. recently reported that the WWE was supposed to cut the feed off after the Scottish Warrior's loss. As odd as Tyson and Drew breaking out into a song may have been, it seems more fans are still trying to figure out why the WWE refused to put McIntyre over against Roman Reigns. While the conventional wisdom is that the WWE wants the belt on Roman until WrestleMania 39, should he get his match with The Rock, some fans feel the WWE missed a huge opportunity to turn McIntyre into a megastar. Next up, Bobby Fish has some harsh words for CM Punk. It looks like former AEW star Bobby Fish is following up on challenging CM Punk to a fight by also calling CM Punk the C word. Fish recently spoke with NBC Sports Boston about Punk, saying, "I'm working for AEW, they're paying my check. You asked me to put my shoulders down for Phil Brooks, I'll go out and do it." Interestingly enough, there was a little whatever in the match we had, and after the match, Phil was C word. In case you're wondering why Fish insulted Punk, the former member of the Undisputed Era explained, "Frankly, as a martial artist, I went out and laid my shoulders down for you. You should be grateful that I did, because on national TV, if I decided that I wanted to haku your ass, I could have, because you're that little of a threat in my world. I'm not John Jones or Anderson Silva, but I've been doing martial arts long enough to where I can hold you like a wet nap, Phil Brooks. For you to be a C-word after for a mistake you made, it doesn't wear well." Next up, a former superstar hospitalized. As bad news for former WWE superstar Eva Marie, as Ryan Satin reports Eva Marie was recently hospitalized. Eva Marie says she had to go to the ER on anaphylactic shock over Labor Day weekend due to a massive allergic reaction to fire ants. Now, fire ants are feared for their extremely painful bites, so one can only imagine what it was like for Eva Marie when she had to deal with a severe allergic reaction. We send our best wishes to Eva Marie for a fast and full recovery. And finally, Alexa Bliss misses her old character. And last but not least, Alexa Bliss's dark Alexa Bliss character was quite a departure from her Little Miss Bliss persona, but it still has its fans, including Alexa herself. A fan recently lamented, "I miss dark Alexa Bliss on social media," leading to Bliss tweeting back, "Me too," with a black heart. Despite ongoing rumors that Bliss was about to undergo a gimmick change following a return from dental surgery, Bliss has been playing her 5 Feet of Fury character ever since then. As rumors of Bray returning to the WWE continue, fans have to wonder whether the WWE will pair the two former fiendish characters together. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.